for that. Now you're looking at it because you know the end result. When you're in a desperate situation and you're looking for help, and someone's there offering some assistance, sometimes you jump before you totally have thought it all out. I just think it's part of human nature. You're trying to take care of an immediate problem, and we jump into things without fully being cautious enough. So we want to believe the lines that are being fed to us because it's going to help us bring it out. But also understand that these scam artists they're successful in what they do because they're good at what they do. They create excitement for you. They're giving you, you see the game shows on TV and everyone's jumping up and down, pick me, and you run down and everyone's screaming and yelling. Well, the scam artist is doing the same thing to you in your mind. They're creating this is your opportunity. Your ship has finally come in. God always intended me to be rich, and now I don't want to turn this away when it's here. And so you get this excitement going. You've won something. That there's this golden opportunity presented to you. You don't even stop to think, well, did I even enter that sweepstakes? Shouldn't I have? If I won the lottery, I don't remember buying a lottery ticket. Well, for some people, though, when you talk to them, they'll say, well, I enter so many sweepstakes. I enter every sweepstakes there is out there. So when someone called me up and told me that I won a sweepstake, I don't keep record of everything that I entered. So I just figured, yeah, I finally did it. And then they create the excitement. They may have already worked in the friendship along the way. And then whenever it is, when they've got you excited and they've got you at a level of trust, that's when they'll ask for the money. And they'll ask you to wire them money. It's almost always that you have to wire the money, because what they're afraid of is you'll step back. If any real time goes by, you'll start talking to your son, your daughter, your friend next door. You may go out to a senior center. You may make a phone call to the Attorney General's office, and you'll end up not doing it. So you're told at 11 o'clock in the morning that you won this Canadian lottery. And in order to, because it's a foreign lottery, in order to collect your winnings, you have to pay fees up front. And so they'll ask you to wire $5,000 to Canada. Or sometimes they'll even say that you've won something in the United States, but it's going to end up simply being a drop box that immediately goes overseas. I've told, when I would go out and talk to groups over the years, I would tell them, if someone's told you that you've won $1 million, but you have to pay $5,000 in order to get it, tell them to take the $5,000 out of the million and give you the $995,000, and everybody will be happy. Well, scam artists have sort of caught on to that. I'm not saying it's just because McCabe was saying it. Law enforcement has been advising people about this for many years now. What they're doing now is they're sending you checks. And I just brought a couple of them with me. But they'll send you checks to tell you that this is what you need. We don't want to take money out of your account to pay these fees. We're giving you the money up front so you can pay the fees, and then this is the first part of your winnings, and then you'll get the rest of the winnings after you send this back for the fees. And sometimes it's not always that you've won a lottery or a sweepstake. Sometimes they're simply picking up on what's going out in society. For instance, this very first check I have here is United States Treasury check. This is not the earned income tax credit refund that you're getting back. This really looks, to me anyways, like a income tax refund that I would get from the federal government. The only difference is it's $3,980. It's a lot more of a refund than I've ever received. But it came to a friend of mine. We grew up together in Johnson City, and he brought it over, and said, you know, I was told that I got this money as part of the stimulus money that the federal government was sending out throughout the country in order to get the economy going. Now, if you're reading the newspaper and listening to the news, you know that the federal government has been getting money out to try to stimulate the economy. Now, they haven't sent me a $3,900 check yet, but you know, it's not totally implausible. Every so often you'll see these programs, that property tax rebate check or something will come from. So they pick up on things like that that are going on, so that makes it somewhat believable. But what my friend was told to do was to cash this check, keep $980 of it, send the $3,000 off to, and they gave him an address to send it. He had to send it by Western Union. And that was all the ruse was to, so that they could verify that this actually was the right person who was getting this check. And then if he did that, then the rest of his stimulus money would be sent to him. And I'm sure it would have been. So they would continue to send him phony checks for all the time that he would send them real money back. He didn't do it at all. He brought it to me, and this is in fact a fraudulent check, but it looked very, very real. It looked so real that, you know, if in your excitement you go down to the bank and they give you documents like this, a treasury check, because they know the bank has to honor these checks and give you money much quicker than if it was a personal check that they were sending. So he was supposed to go down, deposit this, take $3,000, wire it over. He'd still have $980 for himself. What would have happened there would have been about 10 days or 2 weeks later, the bank would have called up my friend and said, you know that check you gave us? That was a fraudulent check, and we are now have to deduct, you kept $980 in your account, but the $3,000 that you took out, we're going to have to debit your account for $3,000. And of course my friend would have said, wait a second, I sent that $3,000 off. He would have been out the $3,000. Fortunately, that didn't happen to him. Just to let you know how, with senior citizens anyways, you know, I am a proud AARP card carrying member. So I'm in the bracket that I can start getting these. This check for $3,820 was sent to Carol Cacciola. Same, you know, that she had won a lottery, and that this was the fees, this was to cover the fees, and what they told her to do was cash the check and send $3,000 back to such and such a place. They sent it to Carol at 44 Hawley Street, 17th floor, Binghamton, New York. That's our address. Carol is an assistant attorney general in our office. Carol doesn't mind me sharing this information with you. The only thing I'm probably not authorized is that Carol is now qualified to get these checks because she's had her 50th birthday. But they're not very discriminating. You know, they send these things. They're looking at a list. They're looking at a list of everyone who's 50 years of age and older, and then they start sending out these mass mailers to people that are that meet that qualification. But you know, there's also an expense. There's an expense in creating